Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hello friends, and it is already time to do my February TBR, which just came up so quick as it does some days, you know. I'm just really excited about the coming months and some of the books that are coming out and some of the things that I have planned, and I just think there's going to be a lot of fun things. So for February, there are still oodles of books coming out. I did truly try to pull back a little bit, and I have said no to quite a few arcs in the last 2 weeks. Like, honestly, I've said no to so many of them, but I still have a pretty full February. However, a good chunk of these ones are audio arcs, are ALCs, and to me those are kind of like, it's not as much of a weight on me, partially too because they don't have as strict of a day to like turn in your review. Like, there's only a couple that do, so it just gives me a little bit more breathing room. We'll also talk about some of the challenges that I start, like, not the challenges facing me, but the reading challenge that I started, and already, you know, how things are shifting a little bit and how I'm planning to handle that. Also, let me show you off. This is my February calendar start. Isn't that so cute? I don't know if I showed you January. I mean, I'll show it again anyway, because I'm very proud of it. So let me show it to you. Here was my January one. I do cross off the days as I go. And then there's my February one. I love it. It's so cute. I worked on this for a couple hours. Not this one page, but I've just adapted my journal quite a bit over the years, and I think that's really fun. So anyway, we got some good stuff going on. Let's start off with the book clubs that I have. Actually, I have 2 book clubs going on in February. And then we'll talk about, of course, the arcs and new releases I'm excited about. And then we will talk about my Patreon books and my the reading challenge that I have. And I'll explain what I mean about how that's going to evolve through the year, like what my plan is, because those are all bonuses. And like, as of where I am in January right now, I haven't even gotten to any of the bonuses that I had for January because there was just so much going on. And I'll explain what I'm planning to do for that. So, all right, so first off, there's 2 book clubs in January. The first one that will come up is we will have Rake Appreciation Society. It'll be on my channel. I'll have that scheduled shortly, but Big Sis and I decided we want to do it the week of Valentine's. This is a quarterly book club that we do, and the book club for this one is our winter book club, so it's December, January, February, and our book club is going to be February 12th because we wanted to do it the week of Valentine's, we decided. So I still need to read It Had to Be a Duke. I read The Silent Duke during our historical readathon that we did earlier this month, or I mean, yeah, I'm filming in January, so earlier in January we had that, and I'm very excited to read this one, and we will talk about both of those. It'll be at 8 p.m. Central on Wednesday, February 12th on my channel. I hope that you can join us, whether you read one book or both of them, or you just want to hear us talk about it. Definitely come hang out. It'll be so much fun. I treasure that book club so much. And then we are going to be talking about Written in My Own Heart's Blood. We have Outlander Readalong coming on February 23rd. So I hope some of you have started this one by now that are reading it with us. And I think this will be very interesting to read after having just finished off season 7. There was a lot from this book they included. There's a hell of a lot that they didn't. I think that will be interesting. Quite the cliffhangers that were left out there, like, just crazy. So yeah, we're going to be reading this one, which I don't want to wait too long on this one. I better get started because February 23rd, that's going to come really quick. But I plan to give us a good amount of time to get through book 9, but I also am ready for us to kind of wrap up Outlander Readalong because we have been doing it for over a year now, right? But technically people could have started this in December already, and maybe some people are done with it. But yeah, I'm excited to chat about this one, and I have a lot of notes in this one from when I read it the first time. It's crazy. Okay, let's go through the new and upcoming releases. Here we go. So, I still can't show you the cover of this yet because Claire Kent, aka Noelle Adams, is keeping it a secret, is keeping the series title hidden. But this book does come out February 1st, and that's Devotion. And this was the first book that I got to read in my work with Noelle Adams. And y'all, you're gonna love this book, okay? I can say that this one is a dystopian. It's a very different dystopian, and it is a new series from the Kindled world, so make sure you're ready. There isn't a pre-order, it's just going to drop on February 1st, so be ready for that. I'm sure I will blast it all over the place. I'm very excited for everyone to get to it, but yeah, that one's coming on February 1st. And you'll see why she's been hiding it once it comes out. But if you're a fan of hers, you'll want to read it, okay? Yeah, you will. All right, then we have Unloved by Peyton Corinne. I have read this one already, but I'm telling you guys also about February releases, but I have read a few of them already. But this comes out on the 4th. This is about Ro and Freddie, who, if you read Unsteady, oh, that rhymes. It is, their story is going on at the same time. You can read this one first. If you didn't read Unsteady, you want to read Unloved, you can. This is a hockey player and his tutor. Let's say that. I think they're seniors in college in this one. But yeah, she is Sadie's best friend and really helped her through some tough times. Then there is Hudson by Samantha Skye. This is book 2 in this like billionaire series. They're like whiskey makers, and the first one was a large age gap, and I enjoyed that one a lot, and so I ended up signing up for this one. I just received the ARC for it actually, so I'll be able to start it soon. But I don't know, I don't even remember what the tropes are for this one. I don't know, but I really enjoyed book 1. I think it had Silver Daddy on the front. Was Wander on the front of the first one? I can't remember if it was Wander was the cover of it, but it was a sexy silver fox was the first book. And this one is actually his son and his romance, so I'm here for it. I really enjoyed the first one. But also this is kind of like a low drama series for me. Like there's a little bit of suspense in it, but I'm also not like overly invested, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's one of those that I plan to keep reading the series until I don't anymore, right? Like, you know. Okay, then there will be Under an Endless Moon by A.L. Jackson, and this will be the next book in the, oh shucks, I forgot what the series is called. Is it Ridge? Is it Midnight Ridge? I don't know, but I will be getting an ALC and an ARC of this one from her soon. I was lucky enough to get to interview A.L. Jackson, though we were talking about Visions of Darkness, which was wonderful. I enjoyed that a lot. And Under an Endless Moon will be the next one in her like biker small town suspense. And yeah, I'm one of her on her like influencer art team for that, so looking forward to it. Then finally, you guys, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you all. I'm so happy that I'll be able to really talk about this book now. A Rebel Without Claws is coming on the 11th. Like, I read this book back in, I don't know, even was it September or October that I read it? I got a very early arc of it, which wasn't even through like Juliet or anything. I got it from Edelweiss had it, and I got approved for it, which was great. But then I actually did do a little bit of help with Juliet for this one, because since I had already read it, she asked me to help with something. And so that was really cool. I can't wait to add this. This is sorry if you don't know, A Rebel Without Claws is her spin-off series from Stay a Spell. It's a brand new second generation series, and this one is about Evie and Mateo's daughter, one of the triplets, and it's her romance with a werewolf. So if you don't know though, like, so she's a daughter of a werewolf in which there are actually only male werewolves. And so she's not a werewolf. She leans in more to her witch, but her two brothers are werewolves, and she is a witch, and she falls for a werewolf named Ronan, who is actually in a werewolf like MMA fighter, basically. And yeah, they have they're just so fun. It has all the things that Stay a Spell does, great cameos, and it's just going to be, I'm so happy she's continuing that world. And honestly, I think she's going to need it because the other series she's writing is going to be very, very dark with Firebird and everything. So I think having a lighter, fluffier series to also be writing will be very good. But yeah, that one's going to come, and that's going to be her first like straight to stores release with her new contract she has with, who's doing those ones? Union Square. So very cool. Scie and Sparrow comes out on the 11th by Bryn Weaver. I'm sure this is highly anticipated by a lot of people, and I'm a bit torn. Like, I'm definitely going to read this. I'll probably grab the audio. I don't have an arc of this one at all. I don't even know if people really got arcs for this one, because this is a highly anticipated release with how popular Butcher and Blackbird and some of those have been, which is cool. I mean, that's amazing for her. Like, honestly, it's amazing for her. However, I was very torn on book 2. I didn't really care for it at all, really. It didn't work for me. So I'm still going into this third book excited about it, but I don't know. I hope it has more of the magic of what the first book did and less of the just, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of book 2, but we're going for it. All right, we have Sin With Me by Brooke Montgomery. I'm on her arc team, so I know I'll have an arc of that one whenever it should arrive. This will be the last book in the Sugarland Creek series. We'll be wrapping that up, which is exciting. This one will be A Married in Vegas, and it is actually the siblings of the last book. I mean, the whole series is the siblings, but the twin brothers, Waylon and Wilder, have been the last 2 books, and the Only With Me, the one before, I think it was Only With Me, was the one before this one, was the ex-girlfriend's younger sister, and now his twin brother is going to marry the ex, who's also the older sister of the other one. So it's like doubly my sibling's ex, or my ex's sibling. Double kind of, or, you know, both of those. So we'll see. This series has ended up being much more emotional than I expected it to be. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I do know that the setup of this one, I think it's going to be heavier than it looks, because based on what was happening to these characters in the previous book, I'm going to be mentally prepared for it. But I think this series has been great, and I love how it is like rocketed Brooke Montgomery's like solo career so well. Like, that makes me so happy for her. All right, now I have a few in a row here of new to me authors. That is still a huge goal for me in the new year. I believe I said I want to try to read 100 new to me authors. I've already read quite a few in January. I'll talk about that in my monthly wrap up coming soon. But I signed up I have 3 different arcs from 3 different new to me authors. So we have For Phillies and Monsters by Landon Hill. Don't have the arc for this yet, but I signed up for an arc of this. This is supposed to be a dark cowboy romance. I loved this cover. This is coming from Luna Literary Management. They're who I read the Elliot Rose through. That's who I got my arc of Braving the Storm from. And they're a newer kind of PR or like arc company. And so I signed up for this one. I don't know much about it at all. Then there is Ravenous by Alana Rachel. Sorry, I want to say Richard. Alana Rachel. I have the arc for this one. I know this is a fantasy romance. That's what we got for it. I believe I went through NerdFam for that one too. I think so. I know I went through NerdFam for this one. So I just got this physical arc in the mail of Monster of the Dagger Mountains by Meredith Hart. This is a new to me author, though she has a few books out by now. Here is the beautiful piece of art here. Love that. And the bookmark. I love that. Enjoy the monsters, it says here. And this one says, let me read the back for you guys since I actually have the physical arc of this one. It says, he stole magic from a god. She's going to steal from him. All right, this one says, 3 years of failed magical studies at the Towers of Silver City have left Kira's future hanging by a thread. She has one last chance to prove herself, a covert mission to capture a former student who murdered a god. All Kira has to do is gain the god killer's trust without losing her heart. Resnick is a monster. Haunted by the price he paid for the magic he controls, he fled to the Dagger Mountains. When a group of mercenaries discovers him, Resnick infiltrates their camp, ready to fight or run until he meets Kira. Resnick's plan to seduce Kira for information turns into a fiery connection neither can resist. Trusting her is impossible. Revealing the truth would uncover painful secrets he tried to bury, but sending her away leaves Kira at the mercy of the Towers, who will stop at nothing to capture his magic. Resnick fought a god, but can he fight his heart? So there we go. We have a lot of fantasy romance on the docket for this month. Like, we even have more to go. So that one is from the Nerd Fam and that author. Looking forward to it. Okay, now we have Here and Now by Corinne Michaels. I'm signed up for an ALC. This is the next book in her Ember Fall series. This one will also be traditionally published now, so that's why there's a bigger gap between the last one and this one. There is On Love Rose Lane by Samantha Young. This is the start of a new series from her. I'll be getting an ALC of this one. When We Burn by Kristen Proby. This is the start of a new series from her, and it spins off from The Wilds of Montana. We had this couple set up. It's going to be a single dad, friends to lovers. Really looking forward to this one. Then we have The Broker by Nikki Sloan. Now this one moved from last month. This is coming on the 20th. The other two I just mentioned were as well. This is the next book in her Nashville series. And I believe it's going to be like a billionaire, like broker or whatever. For sure, I think it's office romance. These are always erotic romance from her. I don't even know what kinks will be involved or what it will be, but I love Nikki Sloan, and I love that she keeps putting out books in this series. The only way they're truly connected is like through this Nashville neighborhood. And a couple of the characters are related in the series as you go, but that's how they're connected. Also on the 20th is By the Letter by Julia Wolf. And look at this cover. She just released this cover. OMG. I'm so excited. She actually said in a post that normally, you know, she does her Broody Man covers, which I adore. I'm here for it. But she wanted one that really put Roman's personality across. Now, if you read in the details, Roman was actually a bit of it. He wasn't a villain in that book, but he was someone that we were side-eyeing because he got himself into Jake's family business. And I mean, well, it wasn't Roman's fault, but Jake's older brother made a deal with Roman and it caused some issues for Jake and Clara. So we're probably thinking a little bit of shady thoughts about Roman. However, this is going to be a surprise baby between Roman and Shira. So, because this series, The Mile High Billionaires, the women are kind of like the main character in this one. It's a group of women friends. And so Shira, and from what I hear, there is a like masquerade party, and I can't remember if it is at a sex club or where it is, but basically they have sex and it's a surprise baby. And she has been strongly hinting that Roman will give us Elliot vibes, like not in his personality, but in his excitement and protectiveness over this like pregnancy and the baby. And I'm like, guys, I'm salivating. I am salivating for this story. I know we should be getting the arcs very soon because usually once she reveals the cover, her arc team gets them pretty early. You can still sign up for this arc if you want to. If you're one of the reviewers watching me, Valentine PR has the arcs available. And Valentine PR usually gets the arcs about a week after her arc team does. We get them a little bit early. And I mean, I haven't had a 6-star read that yet this year. And I'm hopeful, everyone. I'm very hopeful. Let's just say that. Okay, then on the 25th, there will be The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. This has been confirmed that it will be an MFM. Sadly, I was hoping for an MMF. But I still trust Elle Kennedy. She's written MFMs before that I read many years ago, and they were all right to me. But this will be actually the last book in her what is it? Is it Campus Diaries is this series? I'm a little sad about that, but to be honest, like all of her books really do connect. So I'm sure whatever she does next will still connect to this one. But I mean, I really like the first 2 books in this series, so I'm kind of sad it's the last one, but whatever she does, I'm sure I will like. I don't 100% know I will get an arc of this one. I did get an arc of the first 2, but Bloom sometimes changes that up and picks other people. I don't know. Whether I get an arc or not, I will be reading this as soon as it's possible. I'm very excited for it. Okay, so on the 25th, there is apparently a re-release of this certain book. It's called Kiss the Basilisk by Lindsay Straub. Now, I haven't heard great things about this one in its indie form, actually. I've heard some mixed things, but this was one of Bloom's books to sign up for. You know, when I signed up for all my arcs for the next quarter from them, I signed up for this one. I don't know that I will get the arc for it. And I also don't know how excited I am now after what I've heard. So we'll see. But just for you guys to know, it does come out on the re-release comes out then. Sheltered in the Storm by Lisa Edmonds. This is a fantasy I signed up for. Don't know much about it at all. Like I said, lots of new to me authors this month. On the 25th as well, there will be I keep wanting to say King of. It's the Duke of Pride. I have said the King of Pride in almost every video I've talked about this, and it's Anna Wong's fault because she has King of Pride stuck in my head. But this will be the Duke of Pride by Mariah Stone, and this is the 3rd book in the Dukes of Sin series. I'm sure there will be an audio sign up for this one. All of her audios are being done by, I think East House does them, so I'm assuming the narrators will be Shane East and Justine Eyre. That's who the last 2 have been. There will be Mr. Swoony by Piper Rain. Sign up for this arc with Valentine PR. This will be the 3rd book in the Nest series. This has a full cast of narrators, duet narration. So excited for that. There will also be Finding Home by Lauren Rowe. I signed up for an ALC of this one, and it comes out on the 26th of February. Those are the new releases, okay? Okay, now let's go through my Patreon reads real quick. So a lot of these are rereads, but a few of them are ones that I haven't read before, but also some that I need to annotate. So my Patreon tier, where people get an annotated book every month, I'm doing quite a few of my favorites. I'm very excited. So our group book, though, was actually Mafia Romance is what came out of my magic jar. I have a jar of tropes that I pick from, and it was just good old Mafia Romance. And finally, I have Crow by A. Zavarelli on there. Now, I have had Crow on multiple TBRs for years, since the very first Mafia Romance Readathon, which I know people will ask. It's in May. The Mafia Romance Readathon is in May every year, so that will be coming. But it has been on my TBR pretty much since the very first one. When I did it way back then, I know that Tori really liked this one from Novel Life, and so I always had it, and I just have never gotten to it. I've read A. Zavarelli before, but I have not read this one. So it's going to happen in February because I have to annotate it for my patrons. So there will be that. Then I will need to reread Beacon by Claire Kent. Wow, so difficult for me to have to reread. But one of my patrons, I've actually annotated the entire series for her, which has been just really fun. I'm so glad I was able to do that. But yeah, Beacon will be getting reread. There will be All My Love. Someone wanted an annotated copy of this. Whew! That is going to be quite the spicy reread, but I'm so happy someone picked this one, though. I wish that book got more love. I wish it got all the love, right? Of course. Someone picked Ian McKenzie. I already have that one annotated, so that's great. Someone picked P.S. You're Intolerable. Already have that one annotated, so that's great. Someone picked Shattered Dreams by Natasha Madison. Have not read that one before. Have wanted to, so I'll be annotating that. And then this last one will be getting read for 2 reasons, so we'll go into that in a second. But See It Through, someone picked as well. So I had just read this one in November, and I'll be rereading and annotating it, which I always plan to do anyway, so it's the perfect time to get to that. Lots of Julia Wolf every month for me. I love it. So the challenge. So as I shared in my first of the year, I made this fun little challenge for myself. Just for fun, I made a TBR Monopoly. Now, this TBR Monopoly is made up primarily out of books I already own, right? I have squares for audiobooks that I own. I have squares for physical books that I own. I have squares for arcs on my Kindle that have been sitting there and I haven't got around to. I have ones for, yeah, just all of that. So there's ones where I pick one, and then there are some squares where like the book is straight up written in there. And when I land on that square, I can pick either one of those as the book that I read. So anywho, that's how I did this. Now, from the month of January, I did 5 rolls on the die. I have a die. I don't do it on camera because it's, some of them I have to do some work for before I pick the answer. But in January, I had 5 on my list and I didn't get to any of them. Now, the way that this list is going to work is that once a book is like, or once a book has been pulled and it's on my TBR, it's just kind of on my TBR anyway, right? Like all the books on the map that I made, they're all on my TBR. But I don't want to pressure myself. The whole point of this is I get to be a mood reader with those books. So the way I'm going to do this every month is that I'm not going to then like carry these over and make myself read them until I can roll again. I'm going to each month do 3 to 5 rolls and pick new ones so that when it's time to read one, I can choose from like any of those that I've already pulled that I'm feeling in the mood for. Okay, if that makes sense. So it's like each month I'm finding some new ones, because if I didn't get to these, it's because I've been too busy or I wasn't in the mood for those, and I don't want to force myself into anything. That's kind of the point of this game. So I rolled the dice 4 times, and I'm going to tell you which books came up for it. So the first roll, I got read an audio, or listen to an audiobook you already own. And so this book is going back on my TBR again because I am a bad girl. But I have an audiobook for When the Moon Hatched. This book was gifted to me by Jenn for my birthday last year, and I've had it on 2 or 3 TBRs at this point. I know a lot of people love it, a lot of people don't. I don't care. But I really want to get around to When the Moon Hatched eventually. So I'm going to keep putting it on TBRs. But yes, I do have the audio for this one. So hopefully that will entice me into it. I don't know. But this is what I picked for the square that said pick an audiobook. Next, I spun it again and I landed, or rolled the dice again, and I landed on a fantasy romance square. And in that square, there was a choice between Bespelled by Laura Thalassa or Slaying the Frost King. And I picked Slaying the Frost King by Candace Robinson and Elle Beaumont. This says it's immortal enemies to monster lovers. And I haven't gotten around to this one. I love that cover. It's beautiful. This was gifted to me by Tara way back when. Look at the under of that. So I will hopefully get around to this one, but it's an option if I will decide I haven't had enough fantasy yet. Maybe we'll get around to that one, but those are some options here. Then I rolled it and I landed on do an Instagram poll. So that can mean anything. Like literally I made these prompts and they can mean anything. And so what I did is for this one, I picked 2 books off my shelf and I put a poll on my Instagram that just had emojis. And I just said, don't overthink it, pick one of these emojis, and that is the book that I will go. Now, I think people maybe knew at least what one of them was without context, but I put these 2 books in this poll. So for this one, I put A Baby in a Baby Bottle. So this is Baby Moon or Bust by Ava Hunter. I actually have a signed copy of this that my friend Megan got for me when she went to a book signing. I haven't read this one yet, obviously, and I really want to get to it. And then I put Icebreaker on there because I have just purchased Icebreaker in the last couple weeks because of the drama that was going on about it. And I really want to read this one just for the fact of like, I want to read it. Now, I don't need to hear anyone's opinions, else opinions on if you like it or not. I know not everyone does. That's not the point. The point is to read it and just not expect anything from it and just have a good time. And so anyway, I put both of these in a poll with those emojis, and this one did win by quite a few. Like I said, I think people maybe knew what the emoji was, but I don't know how they knew just from an ice skate because I have 50 books that are hockey romance or whatever. I don't know. But that is what got rolled for that one. So that is what the secret poll decided was Icebreaker. So I'll save Baby Moon or Bust for another one. And then the last roll landed on Reread, a physical favorite. So these were, I put just one square on here that was a reread just in case. And in this case, that is the one that I also have See It Through on here for, because I want to reread and get this one annotated. And since one of my patrons picked it already, I'm just doubling it up because why not? I can do what I want. So that is, as I said, how I plan to do TBR Monopoly. Not only so that I still get to roll it every month, even if I don't get to new ones, but also just because it's not supposed to be a punishment with those. It's just to help me get through my TBR. And if one month I'm too busy, I still want to roll it and see what comes up and see what I'm in the mood for, right? Because I have made the decision to really pull back on arcs, like I have done a good job. I know February doesn't seem like it, but I have pulled back a lot. I've said no to so many books lately. I feel so bad. There's a lot of new authors who've asked, and I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I'm capped out. And so eventually I will have more room. Like in March, I currently only have 11 books I've asked for, and I'm really trying not to say yes to any more for March so that I can have room for that. So hopefully as like the year goes on, I'll have more time for reading what I want in there. There also will be some more books for Noelle/Claire Kent to read. I haven't had my monthly like check-in with her yet, so I don't know what my assignments are. So I will have 2 or 3 books to read for her in February as well. So I got to leave room for those as well. But anywho, that is what we're looking at for February. Still a pretty full TBR, but there's a little bit more wiggle room than there has been in a few previous months. But anyway, let me know what you're excited for February, the month of love as it were. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see you next time, friends. Bye.